Hi, Canastota. I'm Sean Bissetta, Superintendent of Canastota Central Schools, and this is the weekly video update for Friday, October 14th. I'd just like to really focus this week's update on a topic that I know is very important to all of our school community, and that is the subject of school safety. And more specifically, uh, given some of the events that we've been working on recently, really want to take some time to outline how the district communicates with families, to staff, the larger school community, and sort of explain the thought process that goes behind each of those decisions. So, for example, uh, an obvious one that we will always communicate home to families is when there is an obvious disruption to the school schedule. Um, that type of situation, something similar to what happened in the last couple of weeks when we had an unexpected lockdown that was triggered by some work that was happening uh, as, a as a result of our capital project. So we had an unplanned lockdown system. Um, the system was alerted. That's a situation where we obviously get information out to people to make sure that they know that everybody's safe. There is no emergency. There was uh, an unplanned alert that was sent, but everything is under control. I can promise you that we always try to deal with that as quickly as possible. I understand that it's probably never fast enough because there's always that moment of uncertainty. Hopefully, you understand we also weren't expecting it either, and so it does take us a minute to assess what exactly happened. But I can promise you that as soon as we know what we're dealing with, and that's the case in this particular situation, once knew exactly what was happening, we knew that there was no threat to staff or student safety, then we took the steps to get out notification. So that's the first and really the obvious case of when we would initiate communication and fairly quick and immediate communication. Uh, when you have 1,300 students and hundreds of adults in the building, when you have that number of people, as you can imagine, there are frequent issues and items that are investigated on a daily basis. And I would say, probably dozens of events, rumors, accusations, things that happen during the course of a school day, school week. And so obviously we're trying to find the right balance of when do you communicate, because I can tell you, and anybody who's worked in schools for any length of time would know, uh, there's enough going on in schools and things that are investigated that we would be sending alerts home multiple times every day, almost to the point of distraction to people when there's really not necessarily a need to do so. So if there's something that's obvious, and there's something that's a disruption of the schedule, then we do that. When there are other types of investigations that are not disruptive and there's no threat or issues involved that we are concerned about people's safety, then those are things that we don't necessarily immediately send out or um, alert the community. We do make exceptions, and so today I'm going to talk about one of those one such exception. Uh, there is was a concern out there that there is a bullet that was on school grounds, and so I can assure you we have worked consistently and repeatedly in any type of issue such as this with the Canastota Police. Uh, there was a bullet that was found on the school grounds that was not had not been fired, was not attached to any threat, was not linked to anybody by any type of particular video. That was thoroughly investigated by the police and actually investigated multiple times to make sure that there was nothing of a that there was no concern to the safety of people at school. So there had been no disruption to the schedule. There is no credible threat. I'll say that again. There was no credible threat at any point during the course of the investigation that had been that the district was concerned about, that the police department was concerned about. The reason I'm making an exception is because the rumor mill just kept pushing this up and up, that there had been some type of threat to the school. I want to assure everybody, no threat. There had not been initial notification because there hadn't been any type of disruption to our regular schedule. But because it's starting to become a disruption, because it's sort of been talked about and keeps bubbling up, I want to take the opportunity to let people know it has been completely investigated. I have to walk into the school every day along with my colleagues. So, not only are we concerned about student safety, we want everybody to be safe. And so to try to, put that to rest, yes, there was a bullet. No, it didn't even appear to be a new bullet. It looked like it had been around for quite some time. It had been determined that there was no threat. There was no person it was tied to. So hopefully we can move on from that. And so again, be assured that that has been thoroughly investigated. Another final example I'll give you is this, when you talk about a rumor that will not go away, it's something that's been really a national thing. It's been talked about in different places. Thought it had gone away, but just was asked the question again this week about it. So let me put that rumor to rest, that again had no bearing, had never been a conversation in the district. But no, Canastota Schools does not put litter boxes in the bathrooms at the school. Have not, will not, and will never at any point put litter boxes in schools. So hopefully that clears that up. Sometimes you hear yourself saying things that you can't believe that you actually need to say. But we do not put litter boxes in the school. And just remember, as we try to work to communicate with you and keep you up to date with things that are happening in and around the school, we'll always be glad to answer questions for you. Just remember, everything that you read on Facebook, and just because it's on Facebook doesn't necessarily mean that it's credible or true. And at any point, we can look our school community in the eye and say we do the very best we can in the most honest way possible. And any decisions that we make, we can stand by it, can defend it. Glad to talk to anybody if at any point they have questions about anything related to safety of the school or any part of our operation. So on that note, we thank you for your continued support of our school and our kids. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay positive and go Raiders.